Welcome to our podcast where we will discuss welfare myths, five commandments, and how they play a role in myths with spreading disinformation to stop it and avoid it in the future.
The kernel of truth is a big lie hidden behind a little bit of truth, which causes people to believe in it. I asked my interviewee if tax dollars are being eaten up by welfare programs. She said, I don't really know. The truth is that welfare does take up money of tax dollars, but I don't know how much specifically. Welfare myths include that all people on welfare are lazy. This is not the case. The person I interviewed, Melanie Bautista, says, there are lazy clients, but not all of them are lazy. People hide their income to get more benefits. They do not include the people in their home, and that's how they access more benefits. But there are also people who work hard and who need welfare and who aren't lazy. Big lies hide behind a small truth. I asked my interviewee about other lies that are hidden behind the truth, and she responded with, other lies include illegal immigrants taking away money from welfare programs. The truth is, illegal immigrants can access very few programs, but as a whole, they are ineligible for these programs. Many people conceal where they get their information from about welfare. They usually blame other sources. This is their way of concealing their hand. How do they benefit from this? The unreliable sources strategy is to gain trust of their audience by any means. They catch us by saying they got their information by a reliable source. This is a way of concealing their hand right in front of you. My interviewee, Melanie Bautista, says news sources count as turning people and giving disinformation about welfare by saying illegal immigrants take a lot of money from the government through welfare. Illegal immigrants cannot access welfare, and they are restricted. With many sources concealing their hand, this makes so many sources hard to trust. Many people fall for fake sources about welfare, and this starts to affect people that may need welfare. What are some sources to trust? My interviewee, Melanie Bautista, responded with CalFresh or Medi-Cal, and each county has its own reliable information.
The useful idiot is seen frequently in disinformation, but who is the overall leader in welfares? Many names come to mind, but according to Kelly Hampton, a social service deputy branch director, she would have to say that the main person responsible for myths about welfare would be our President Donald Trump. Disinformation about welfare could be contributed from the people in state level positions. However, when I asked Miss Hampton herself, she replied, not that I am aware of. Also, propaganda has a strong influence in the world of disinformation, and Miss Hampton agrees by saying, propaganda does in fact have a strong pull on disinformation, especially in my line of work. Many myths are covered up by contradicting claims that follow the deny, deny, deny commandment. Kelly Hampton has informed me of the myths that they deal with in their department. She claims one myth would be that people keep having babies so they could stay on welfare forever, when in reality they can only receive CalWORKs cash aid for no longer than 24 months. Another myth is welfare rolls are growing, when the truth is that Humboldt County CalWORK cases have declined dramatically as a result of various welfare reform initiatives. People have been known to deny their disability to achieve welfare benefits. Ms. Hampton replies, yes, I have seen many cases like these, and some of them were never resolved until it was too late. The last question asked was, can race play a factor in why people will deny the need for welfare? And Miss Hampton replied, definitely. People of more Caucasian descent tend to deny the needs for support more than other minorities.
After the long game of a welfare myth, it makes a big impact on the people who have welfare assistance. Human service offices have a category of employees that work on temporary assistance for needed families fraud. They end up finding people who commit fraud by not looking for work when required to. When applying for welfare, they ask such questions like if the person has kids, therefore to increase the amount of money given. As Christopher Zelenick from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services said, the welfare checks are just enough money to help them. This encourages adults to look for a job to earn extra money for essentials. The big impact a myth like welfare making people lazy comes to what they strive for. As Christopher Zelenick stated, whoever benefits from welfare usually works to save money to be in classes for a more higher job. This is an advantage because it helps people with the job they strive for and it could help them focus on it. This information is everywhere we go, whether it's from social media to newspapers and even talking to your friends. It seems to get around fairly quickly as how intriguing it might sound, but when it comes from a non credible source and evidence that causes suspicion, it should encourage you to go unveil the truth for yourself. Welfare myths have changed the perspective of many people, and when it comes to people believing the disinformation of welfare making people corrupt, they ignore the evidence of how the government's aid on how they relieve low income children in building a better childhood for the kids to encourage them to strive for a better life. To inoculate ourselves from the tons of disinformation of welfare myths, it seems almost impossible to avoid it. As Christopher Zelenick stated, analytic thinking plays an important role in people's self inoculation against political disinformation. We can't always rely on people to unveil the truth for us. We have to go and see the truth for ourselves.